Hey, Steve Zook, welcome back to Pokesue channel. Hey, this is kind of a video for my guitar ladder, family customers who've been with me for 6 months or a year and a half, or whatever, however long you've been with me. And if you're thinking about how to improvise, and what I want you to think about is how to practice in order to develop the ability to improvise. Of course, that's what the guitar ladder system is about. But besides just working on my studies, it's important that you make an effort to improvise, and you don't want to be too hard on yourself doing that. Let me give you an example. One of my customers who was just a little bit, he was a beginning guitar player, but just was very serious about learning the guitar. It ended up making just unbelievable quantum leaps. His improvisation at the beginning was just, okay, and then he would do that, and I would play over it, okay, and we'd switch. So it's very important that you're not too hard on yourself. If you just find a way to put 3 or 4 or 5 chords together, then that's really cool. Some ideas for that though is, and see, it's you practice, and you input information, and then you just kind of have what some people call the subconscious release. But your practice, and I'm not talking about working on my chord studies and my chord cycles, but you should be sitting down and working on improvisation independently of my cycles. That doesn't mean you can't use any of the ideas, obviously, but in other words, sit down, play one chord, and improvise. And even if, like I said, even if it's just 4 or 5 or 6 chords, that's fine. So some of the ideas for that, and you can think, even though when you get into the higher stages of improvisation, you might not think this much about it, or it becomes more subconscious is the goal. While you're studying and while you're practicing how to improvise, it's helpful to use these guidelines. Okay, so for instance, let's say you want to improvise and you're playing a chord. Let's just say you're playing a G major 7. Okay, well, you can think diatonically, like 1 6 2 5, 1 6. Minor 7 is 6, 2 is minor 2, and 5 the 5 chord. Okay, you can think that. You can think intervallically. In other words, go like a perfect fourth from G. You can think another perfect fourth. Okay, you can think common tones. Somebody sent me a question today about common tones. Oftentimes the common tones can be a way to link things together. For instance, say if I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and then I'm thinking this common tone, right? Then maybe I'm thinking chromatic, so now I come up a half step, another half step, another half step, another half step, another half step. Common tone, common tone. This is a very difficult thing to explain, but I think you're seeing my point here, which is if you don't just be stuck on one system, like I said, you could be playing in any, you could think chord connection. 13 connects 13, 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 connects 13. Okay? So, like I said, oftentimes great music usually doesn't just stick to one particular pattern, okay? And that's why that's what's so powerful about the guitar ladder system, is you're learning chords in terms of groups of notes. Another thing to think of in improvisation is inversion. Say you're on a chord and you're thinking, where can I go from here? Go to the first inversion. Inversion, just because there's 3 inversions: first inversion, second inversion, third inversion, right? First inversion has a third in the bass, okay? And I'll send you my inversion sheet if you don't happen to have it. So you can do one chord, then go to inversion, right? Move one note of a chord, right? Add another note. Keep the same chord and add notes. Move just a couple. I know this sounds like an oversimplification, but it's very powerful. Move just a couple. Try to move just small interval skips within that chord. Move 1 or 2 notes. See, that gives you smooth voice leading. Now, common tone, chromatic. The definitions are really, it's easy to poke holes with the definitions. There are more guidelines to help you move around and experiment. Some other things that could be very, very helpful, this may seem a little crazy, but it's true, is daily meditation and yoga. This has nothing to do with religion or a cult or anything like that. It's just meditation, exploring your consciousness on a deeper level. Yoga, that's very helpful to bring out your creativity, okay? So, and like I said, you could be improvising, and also polychords are a good thing to think of. Like if you're trying to think of what to do, like for instance, you play a C major 7, okay? You go up a scale tone third to every note of that chord, okay? And for instance, okay, that gives you a polychord, okay? So you have that. Then maybe common tone. See, it's like you start with one system, like here, maybe I'm thinking polychord, and now I'm thinking that common tone. And then maybe I move the bass a half step, so you can call that chromatic if you want. Okay? 7 sharp, 5 sharp, 9 connects dominant 13. Now I got to see that common tone again. The most important thing in practicing improvisation is not to be too hard on yourself. Don't expect yourself to sound like Joe Pass or somebody who's been playing for 45, 50 years, you know. You've got to praise yourself for what you can do. Even if, like I said, even if you, like my one student was just going, and he was having a ball, you know, and we were jamming on that, you know, you can add. So what you want to do is you want to just make an effort to improvise. Another thing you can do is you can go, besides obviously, I obviously really believe in my guitar ladder system, but also going through standards and just playing the chord changes of standards is good as well. But the most important thing too, like I said, is to sit down and make an effort to improvise, and don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be scared about trying. Don't expect it to sound, you know, impeccable. Just give it a shot. You know what I mean? Like I said, you can do any chord, and that you can come up chromatic and then end up on a note. It can be this mindless, really this simple. And then see how that common tone, and I'll keep that common tone in mind, right? Still working on that diminished scale. Now I got that common tone. Like I said a little bit ago, you just move a couple notes inside of a chord, and then resolve that. Now maybe I'll think intervallic, perfect force. Okay. You can always take a chord, flat the 5. So thinking in those different ways, diatonic, intervallic, symmetry is kind of like doing a pattern and then taking the same pattern, like say this, and doing the same pattern somewhere else, and shifting the exact same thing up a minor third and moving it differently. So like I said, the most important thing in improvisation is to combine things, okay? Don't get stuck in one thing. Like if you say you're doing this chord, maybe I keep that note common, then I maybe go to this chord, maybe this chord, then I might come down to another 13, right? Keep that note common, 13 flat 9, chordal harmony, chords built out of perfect force. Now there, see, I was just taking the treble and coming up. So it's about experimenting. You could have sections where you do, you know, 4 chords, and then maybe switch to something else, doing our arpeggios. But the main thing is don't be too hard on yourself. And like I said, just play one. Even if you just improvise and you play 4, 5, 6 chords, that's great. The important thing is to allow yourself to be playful. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be judgmental. Allow yourself to play and create. And like I said, even simple things like, you know, having one chord, one note common, like there, common tone. And then maybe you go to something different. Minor 9 connects 7 sharp 5, connects major 9 with an augment 11. Okay, so it's important, like I said, that you even just work with 3, 4, 5, 6 chords. But if you've been with me for a while with the guitar ladder system, congratulations. I know we're making some great movement, but make a little effort not just to work on my chord studies, but sit down to your guitar, play one chord. Here's another example. Play one chord, move the bass. See, now I'm kind of keeping that common tone. Keeping the common tone. Now I'm going to move that voice to some. So you're not going to keep yourself in prison of one system, and that's really what will really open you up. And it is a little difficult to explain sometimes, but that's why you learn as much as you can about music and forget all this shit and just play. However, I went through this same system. When you're learning to play and you're learning to improvise, and improvisation is the stew, or the quantum soup. Improvisation is that source that's going to bring you compositions and bring you a lot of music. Learning how to improvise. So when you're learning how to improvise, you have to that's where the left brain comes in a little more handy. Because when you're learning how to improvise, just like when you're practicing, you're guiding your efforts. So you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to play this chord, I'm going to play a poly chord, or I'm going to do this chord, I'm going to move the bass, keep the common tone, keep that common tone again, keep the common tone, resolve a little bit, and now maybe I'll think of something else. And just create. Don't worry. Like I know this happened quite a long time ago, but I thought of this a long time ago, and I was stoked. 4 chords, okay, but it kind of has a. Has kind of a Joe Passy thing. So I hope I've made my point here. It's a combination of elements. And you might be a little frustrated when you first start doing this because you're expecting maybe to play something that sounds more beautiful. That's the most important time to kind of nurture yourself, Just don't be too hard on yourself. Just start. It's a process. The journey is the goal, and it's a process, and you have to just feel good about taking a small, baby steps, But those are some of the ideas. I'll try to do some more on this. But for those of you that have been with me for a while with the guitar ladder system, go ahead. Play one chord and start improvising, okay? And it doesn't have to be anything major, okay? All right, I'm going to stop and let this. I'll do some more on this because I know this is a subject I've been getting a few questions in my emails lately from people. But anyway, if you're serious about really making some forward movement on your guitar, my suggestion is don't overthink it, or the guitar ladder system. If it will help people out there, you can pay me $100 now and $100 in a month. That's fine. We'll get you going. As opposed to the $199 all at one time, you can pay half now and half in a month. I'm cool with that. I just want to get as many people on the system as I can, and I want to start getting people to send me videos showing of them playing and things, and kind of showing it with other people. So okay, enjoy that. This guitar is available, by the way. It sounds unbelievable. But I need to cut this short, so oh, you know what? I had the tone down. No wonder it sounded like. Some of these strings are stretching quite a bit on this guitar. Take care, and this is available. If you PayPal me as a friend, I'll go $6.99 plus shipping on this. These are really hard to find. This is from the 90s. That J6S with a solid top sounds amazing. I play it every night unplugged and just have a ball. It's really a lot of guitar. Most people would sell this for around $1,000, $900 to $1,000. I'll go, if you PayPal me as a friend, so I don't get hit so hard by PayPal, $6.99 plus shipping. If you want me to send you a PayPal invoice, then it's $7.99. Still a great price. All right, take care.